Hi, beautiful people. I am broadcasting here to you from some sacred lands in Mexico. And today I'm coming here for you to talk a little bit more about the human brain, what it actually is all about. So, for the ones who don't know yet, I am a doctor in veterinary medicine. I'm also specialized as a chiropractor, osteopath, craniosacral therapist, and functional neurologist. And at the moment, I have also been working with bioengineering. And all that stuff is super, super, super fun, super cool. And I have something installed for all of you that are the source codes. The source codes are a series of programs that work with the body, mind, spirit complex. And so, what we do is we teach you how the body, mind, and spirit complex really works on a physical and metaphysical level in order for you to really become that perfect vessel, that perfect professional in order to work with other humans and with animals so that then they can receive these source codes so that other humans can become aligned also in their body, mind, spirit complex. And that way we set a certain frequency, we set a vibrational threshold where people stay at. And that way, the more human beings and the more animals who are aligned and at that frequency, the more that we then bring into manifestation that better world, that heaven on earth, that new Eden, that world where we, instead of being in a paradigm of illness and sickness and dysfunction and death, we stabilize a paradigm and a reality of regeneration, absolute maximum function of our vessel and of our body, mind, spirit complex. And that way we move into or we establish that realm of regeneration, rejuvenation, and finally also eternal life and immortality. So, when we look at the system that is installed right now in the old world society, as I speak about it, the medical system is not in favor of the human being. The medical system, I won't say that it has been set up with a bad intention. I'm not going there, no conspiracy BS or anything like that. It's just the way it is. Right now, in that world, what we have is a medical system that is not beneficial to life. Okay? The medical system is not focused on optimization of health, optimization of expression of the being, optimization of consciousness, manifesting itself into the most benevolent form of our bodies. So it's time, and I know that so many beings already doing that, whether it's doctors, therapists, healers, light workers, etc. It is time to really establish a new paradigm, a new system in order to work with the body, mind, spirit complex, and that way raise the frequencies of the human being and of the animals. Because we know that everything is frequency, everything is vibration. And that this manifestation of this vessel in this density, in this dimension, actually is established from higher dimensions. Whether you can call it, you call it the quantum field, or whether you can call it higher dimensions, or whether you want to say that it comes from source itself. The point is that when we only work on the physical level of our vessel, and we don't work on the subtle bodies, we don't work on in higher levels, in higher frequencies, then we will always get stuck. So in order for this manifestation on a lower realm, or a more, I won't call it lower, but on a denser, in a denser form, in a denser manifestation, in order for this to have functioning optimally, we must work from higher levels. So we actually work, we play in different densities, in different realities, in different realms, in order to merge all these realms as good as possible, so that the higher consciousness, the source codes, can come through in, like, in the tube of all densities. Source is source. And source expresses itself in form in many different layers. So, as we all know, we kind of are playing out here third, fourth, and fifth density, while our essence belongs to source. And when we allow ourselves to expand, when we are open to becoming a more expanded, a higher vibrational version of ourselves, then we go up in the ladder of consciousness, or we go up in the spiral of the ascension. So we become a more complex version of ourselves. We become a more expanded version of ourselves. We become a more healthy version of ourselves. So we go from one density version into another one, into another one, into another one. So you can ask yourself, who am I when I move more close, when I move closer in the direction of pure source consciousness? Instead of staying stuck in this realm and staying stuck in your personality, in what you already know and what you've done and what you've done your whole life, in the programs that you're following, ask yourself, is this me playing this game of life at my highest? Or can I really play this game better? Can I move into higher forms of myself? Can I become that more expanded version of myself? Can my body, mind, spirit complex expand, start vibrating at higher octaves, at higher rates, at higher frequencies, so that then whatever is manifested in my field, whether it's the internal field or the external field, what then am I becoming? This reality has a lot of archetypes, okay? Everything that we play out is actually a play of an archetype. We can call ourselves so many things. We can call ourselves mom, we can call ourselves sister, we can call ourselves daughter, we can call ourselves doctor, we can call ourselves wife, we can call ourselves friend, we can call ourselves so many things. All these are archetypes. And these archetypes have so much in one word. So, my question to you, and that is just an introduction, it's actually nothing to do yet with what I want to talk about. It has. But then again, it's like I say, it's an introduction. So, what we are doing here now is we have these archetypes, what you call yourself. You can call yourself an entrepreneur, you can call yourself a businesswoman, you can call yourself an athlete, etc. So when you ask yourself, what am I identifying myself with? What archetypes am I playing out? And then you can ask yourself, these archetypes, how do I represent them in my life? And what virtues do I represent in each of the archetypes? So when you are in the archetype of mother, what does that represent to you? What do you play out as a mother? We've said it before. We all come from source consciousness. And as source or the creator, creatrix, actually it's non-binary. So it doesn't really matter what we say, creator or creatrix. It's only here in these polarity realms that then some people could get offended when we say he for source or she for source. Or we can say it, non-binary, non-gender. It's only here on these, in the physical form, that we start playing with gender. So we all are extensions from source. And as we are extensions from source, we have that source consciousness embedded in every atom of our vessel. You already know that I don't call the body, I call it a conduit or a vessel or a vehicle. Why do I do that? Because in this new realm that we're all moving into, or at least the ones who want to, because we all know that there is a big split happening, a split in consciousness, a split in frequency levels, in vibrations, and that includes also a split in the manifestation of our world, manifestation of our reality. So there is a split happening. Everyone who wants to go, who decides to go, who engages to go, who committed to go into these realms of higher realities, of higher creativity, of more abundance, of more flow in life, of more synchronicities, of more health, optimal health. We are all moving from that old paradigm into a new paradigm. And that new paradigm, that new earth, has new vocabulary. And it has new vocabulary just for everyone who is in that frequency, who is in that reality, who is in that new earth, to really be very clear about them being in a new reality. So when we start using new words, all these words have a significance. We have a reason to call it one or another. So our vessel, I call it the crystalline consciousness conduit. So why do I call it the crystalline consciousness conduit? Because eventually we will, and many of us are already kind of there, But eventually, the idea of this vessel is to be a conduit of source consciousness, of the universal intelligence that wants to use us, use obviously in a good way, that wants to use us in this game of physicality to express itself, to experience itself. So, yes, we are sovereign beings. And yes, we are also vehicles from source to express itself and experience itself here on earth. Source said, go out there, experience, and then bring back that experience to me. When we look at the source codes, there are these virtues, there are these codes, there are these virtues like courageous, peaceful, happy, blissful, etc. All that are virtues that source wants to experience and express. Now, all these virtues, so first we have source. Source wants to experience virtues. These are all these virtues. And then these virtues become an expression in form, or become a lesson, or become an experience, or become a, what we can also call a test. A lot of people in the spiritual world nowadays use the word test a lot. Oh yeah, God is testing me, the universe is testing me, or Great Spirit is testing me. Now, let me say something. It's not God, not the universe, nothing like that. It's our own consciousness that is always wanting to experience new situations in order to transcend, to grow, and to expand. Because when we figure out an equation of a experience, of a test, then we can send back that information to source, like, okay, I got it. I figured out this equation. And then we expand because we have more consciousness of what has happened. And source expands. Everything expands. When one goes up, we pull everybody else up. And that way, the collective awareness goes up. I've talked a lot about the unique collective awareness. The unique collective awareness is that awareness of every unique expression of source in sentient beings, like humans and animals. And then when we have the awareness as human beings, we're like, go full circle. Life is all about integrating more and more and more and higher and higher and higher virtues that are closer and closer to source consciousness. Source is the same as love. And we have an infinite amount of expressions of love. There is an infinite amount of, what do we call it, codes that we can get together, or building blocks, in order for love to express itself, to manifest itself at, like I say, an infinite amount of possibilities. Everything comes from source. Everything is source. And so we can then work through that. When we look at levels, we can play in very dense levels, like this dense reality that we're playing in right here. Meanwhile, okay, how can I say that? Just think about an elevator. Okay? The rooftop is source. And we have 15 levels in the elevator. And the lower we go, the less sunlight that we still receive from the rooftop. And so the more dark, so to speak, not using dark in a bad way, but the darker, the denser that it becomes in the lower levels of the apartment. When we go to ground floor, level 1, 2, and 3, there is not so much brightness of the rooftop that can come through. Let's say that the elevator is totally crystal, and the tube is crystal, and the elevator is crystal, and so it brings it down. And obviously, the higher to the rooftop, the more light that still comes through, aka the more source consciousness that comes through, and the more that the being is in contact, like direct contact with source consciousness. The lower that we go in our elevator, the less light that comes through. There is still light. There is still source consciousness. It just expresses itself at a lower rate or at a lesser rate because it's further away from source consciousness. So it's not about dark, it's not about light. Actually, every realm was made to have its own experiences. It wasn't made to be trapped in a realm. It was made just to have our own experiences and to go from one level up. And we can go up and down and up and down, and we can go to level 7, and then we go back to level 3, and then we go to level 9, and we go back to level 4 as that source consciousness. And so I was talking about the archetypes. I know I'm going a little bit off topic here about the brain, but that's okay. I just let source consciousness come through, and whatever it wants to me to express, so I do. Right? That is because I'm a conduit. I'm a conduit of source consciousness. And we all are conduits of source consciousness. Now, when we look at the building, the reality, we have the building. Let's say that it's the building of physicality. Okay? It all has apartments. Whoever lives, experiences first, second, and third floor has certain experiences because that is what is playing out on the first, second, and third floor. When I'm at a ground floor somewhere, like here, I have a total different view over things, and it feels totally different than when I'm at a third floor looking over the ocean. It's totally different. And then we go higher, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, etc., until we get to the rooftop again. And the more that we become that clear, crystalline tube, that vessel, that elevator, the more that source consciousness can come through, the more that the light codes can come through, the more awareness there is, and the more that we can then play in different realms. Now, we can only play in all the realms when we are totally aware that we are that source consciousness playing in that elevator, playing in that vessel, and then stepping out of the elevator and look, okay, what's going on here? Okay, what's going on there? Right? So every level has its different experiences. Not one is better or worse than one or another. In this reality that is a bit denser, a bit more material, there is so much virtues that are played out on all levels so much passion, so much going into these emotions. The other night, I was in a restaurant and I really felt like I was in New York. And there was a band, one guy on the piano, the piano man, and absolutely amazing. What an artist. And then there was the singer. She was very beautifully dressed in her glitter dress, very nice, very showing off. And then there were people sitting there and eating, and there was so much richness there. There was richness in the food, and there was richness in the drinks, and in the clothes of the people, and the music, and then the songs that they were playing, and there was so much ambience. And these weren't highly evolved spiritual human beings, but they were these beings who were so happy, who were so passionate, who were so driven. And the energy that was there was so alive. It was absolutely stunning. So, what happens in these realms, the more that you bring in that passion and that energy and that love and even the pain, when the singer, she was singing a song like, oh, I'm in so much pain, and it was very Mexican style, you know, and I tapped into it, and I said, this is so interesting, because they live in with every sensation. They live it so pure, they live it so strong, and there was so much energy that was generated. Obviously, we know that the flip side of that also exists. And that is okay. Because again, it is experiences to go through. Now, the importance is to not stay stuck. Like what I saw is that she was singing through pain. And pain is a heightened expression of feelings. And there is so much passion in there. The thing is, you have to watch out to not fall into the trap, the chain, the enchainment of suffering. There's nothing wrong with pain, with feeling it. You feel alive, you feel your whole body, you feel your mind. Yet staying stuck in there is what is happening a lot with people. The drama of life. What does the word drama mean? The word drama means play. You're literally playing a theater. How much drama can you bring in? Still having that sensitivity, that heightened sensitivity of that love, before you fall into the trap of the suffering and the eternal loop, that karmic loop of that suffering. When you snap out of that, you can play on all the levels, on all the realms. So, that what I wanted to say regarding our elevator. So then, now we know that the human collective and the planet is moving to higher levels of reality, to higher levels of expression. And so the more that we as sentient beings with awareness can say, I'm now moving into higher expressions of myself, instead of only playing the mother or the dancer or the singer, what has so much impact, what is amazing, let's go to something else. Let's play out other archetypes. And when we look at the archetypes, and when we look at the virtues that the archetypes have, then we can take an archetype in, start playing it out. And that way, you are experiencing through your vessel new realities, new virtues, new expressions of yourself. Does that make sense? So if you now want to call yourself an ecstatic dancer, just saying something, right? Because we're talking about the singer and a dancer, then tell yourself, okay, what is in there? What virtues are there? What does that bring me? What does that make me? If you want to call yourself now a queen, a high priestess, Mary Magdalene, Maria, Isis, these are archetypes that carry a certain frequency with all their virtues in there. So when your now archetype, your now actor that you're playing, can start visualizing, imagining, moving into, putting on top of this vessel higher virtue archetypes or more complex archetypes, more refined archetypes who receive more source consciousness. Let's say that the queen archetype is at level 8. From 3 to 8, we move up in the ladder. We move up with our elevator. And so that means that we are becoming more complex. More complex means that there is more source consciousness. There is more light from the rooftop that can be held in this vessel. So the more that your vessel is a clear conduit for source consciousness, the more that you can express higher or different or more expanded versions of source consciousness in physicality. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the ground floor. Ground floor is amazing. Ground floor has the grass, ground floor has the plants, ground floor has the drama, the intensity, etc. Yet it's time to move through all these other departments, through all these other layers, through all these other realms, with the possibility of always coming back to whatever realm you want to without staying stuck there. Humanity got stuck in realms where they forgot that they are a spark of source. Therefore, they felt disconnected from source, alone, separate, not guided by anything or anyone, and then just fell into the trap of conditioned programming in being a worker, being slave, being tied to one or another thing. But that is not all of reality. That is not all of creation. Creation, that's only one little level, and on top of that, they got stuck there. So now it's time for us to integrate new archetypes, new models. Check with yourself, what is the virtue of this archetype? What is the virtue of this model? And how am I going to play that out to my best being, to my best possibility, in order to, when we play it out, we go into action. And what we need to really integrate and observe everything is words, thoughts, feelings, and action. Action is the physicality of the words, thought, and feelings of your creation. So words, thoughts, and feelings start a creation, and then you have to move into action so that it can manifest around you. It's not that you are manifesting. everything is already manifested. Once that you have a thought about it in the all mind, once that you have a heart-based feeling about it, once that there is the desire comes from the sire. Your wish is my command. So when you have a desire, it's already done in the multiverse, in the quantum field. It's already in the apartment at the 6th floor. Now, for you to get to that reality, to get to the 6th floor, well, you have to move up from the 3rd floor to the 6th floor. And there you can play out, I don't know, the ecstatic dancer. Just saying. There you can play out the ecstatic dancer that then has the virtues of life flow, Shakti flow, beautiful connection, feminine expression of life force, etc. Whatever is in there. You can go to the 7th floor, and there on the 7th floor, you play the archetype of, just saying, Isis. What does Isis represent for you? Isis, Osiris, whatever, the queen, the king, etc. What does it represent for you? What virtues does it have? And you can start going into these archetypes. You can start studying how kings are, how queens are, how they behave. I'm not talking about the English throne or whatever thrones that are set up, and there's so much stuff messed up. I'm talking about the archetype. I'm talking about the embodiment. I'm talking about what it represents for you, how you can become a better version of yourself. Because on the 8th floor, the reality on the 8th floor has nothing to do with the reality on the 1st floor or the 2nd or the 3rd floor. And on the 3rd floor, when you on a 3rd floor are a waiter in a restaurant, in the 8th floor, 5th floor, you can be a master chef. And at the 8th floor, you can be a king with your waiters around you. It just depends on what do you want to play out, on which level of the building are you playing. And obviously you can understand that on the 8th floor, there is much more source consciousness that comes through. You have much more awareness of yourself. And that way, you become more like the Godhead, like source consciousness. And you can go down, you can look into the other realms. And that way, we keep on going up and up and up. The importance is to never stay stuck to a form. Because when we look at it from a higher perspective still, we can look at ourselves being at the rooftop and then just looking through the tube of the elevator. What's going on there on the 9th floor? And what's going on there on the 4th floor? Oh, look at this. So in physical form then, our tube, our elevator tube can be seen as our body. Okay, let's stop on the 8th floor. Okay, what's going on here? Oh my God, at the 8th floor, I'm playing the Queen of New Heaven. Or One Heaven or New Earth. Oh my God, that's cool. What is in there? Okay, let's play that. Let's go in there. Let's move in there. At the 5th floor, I'm playing the founder of Source University. And on the 3rd floor, I'm playing, and I'm not saying playing because it's a game and it's also very serious also in a way. It's not that we're just going to to play silly because, oh yeah, whatever, I can get out. No, it's not about that. We play the game at the highest of our capacities in all levels. My question is, at what level are you playing now? Like I said, in the third level, I am being that doctor in veterinary medicine where I teach to doctors, veterinarians, etc. In the fifth realm, in the fifth level, I'm playing one step higher, two steps higher. I'm now being the founder of Source University and main teacher, bringing in higher teachings from Source. In the eighth realm, I'm being the queen of that realm. So, what about you? In which realm are you playing? You can play so much higher. There is no limitation to your imagination. As long as there is the law that you look after, that everything you do, say towards yourself and towards others, everything that you express, everything that you act is for the well-being of the all. When everything you do is beneficial for the expansion and growth of Earth, humanity, the animals, the universe, the galaxy, source, and the all, then you're totally allowed, and actually you should, it's a must to start playing higher and higher and higher. Don't you want to explore the whole building? Of course you want to explore the whole building of creation. Don't stay stuck at one level. Don't stay stuck at one personality. Expand, grow, learn, play the game, talk it into existence. Which apartment are you going to play in? Which reality are you going to play in? The more that you expand your play, your role, the better it is for everybody. Don't we want to see in our reality more people, more humans who embody the king and queen consciousness, who embody the alchemist consciousness, who embody the high level teacher? Don't we want that? Of course we want that. We need more humans playing higher roles. Invent a new profession for yourself. That's what a lot of coaches and so are doing. Just invent yourself, connect with source, and then say, okay, what does source want me to do? Source, use me for what you made me for. What was I created for? And you know when you're aligned with your true purpose, when you feel that spark of energy, when you feel that impulse, when you receive the inspiration. Everything else is outdated. Source wants to express itself as much as possible. And when you stay stuck in a realm where you go every day to work and every day the same and every day the same, there is no expansion. There is only repetition. And repetition is a down spiral because there is no imagination there. There is no creation. And what does that lead to? That leads to old age or aging and death. When there is no expansion in your script, the script just stays the same. There is no life force that can connect with it, because life force comes true when there is imagination, when there is impulse, when there is that passion. So, talking about the human brain. So, the human brain is the physical form of the receptor of source consciousness. So, source wants to express itself in form, and it does it through everything. And it does it also through us, sentient beings. And the sentient aware beings are very important, as I said before, for source to be able to expand. Because then we have these aha moments, we get it, we solve the equation, we know what virtues are behind what we're playing out. Also, when something is playing out in the wrong way, we can invert it and install that in our system. So we can raise and we stay up to a certain frequency, certain vibration. So our brain is the physical receiver of source consciousness. And then the mind is like the translator into human form, into a human language, into human expression. So the clearer our brain and the clearer our vessel, and the more life force that can come through, the more consciousness that can come through, the more that we are a godly version of ourselves. And therefore, our nervous system, what I now call in our new world, our network system, because the word nervous has such a negative connotation, and the system actually is a network system because it connects source consciousness with everything that is showing up in our reality. So our network system is highly important for source consciousness to express itself and for us to become a always more and more and more expanded, growing version of ourselves. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Queen out. See you soon.